What is a horror movie that genuinely scared you? The Ring was legit terrifying. I mean Samara. Come on. I don't sure if it's a horror movie, but Misery. Hereditary. Candyman. Original. There's that scene where he basically cuts a kid wiener off. But it was also the first for me seeing an African American slasher. Especially growing up black in Alabama. But still to this day I can't bring myself to say it in a mirror. Insidious. Jaws. My mother was furious with my father for taking me to see it. Ruined our next few beach vacations. The Conjuring and Babadook. A Nightmare on Elm Street. Event Horizon. I was only maybe 11 or 12 when I watched it. It freaked me out so bad that I couldn't sleep at all. I ended up spending the whole night watching a recorded marathon of Rugrats just to keep the sheer terror away. Smile. I made the dumbest decision to go watch it at 10 p.m. The cinema was dark and we were alone. Me and my friend. We left at the half of the movie. It was just too much. The Blair Witch Project. Sinister and Annabelle Cos dolls are so creepy. Lights out. Too much for me. I was traumatized by Jeepers Creepers when I first watched it when I was 9 or 10, but I recently rewatched it and it's not that bad. How is no one mentioning Host? The Shining. Funny Games. 1997. Made me paranoid about living in smaller towns. I think it's the second Conjuring movie. With the Crooked Man and the Nun. I'm normally so bored by horror films I simply don't watch them. But that one gave me nightmares. Final Destination gave me an existential crisis when I was 9. It Follows. Jeepers Creepers freaked me out so bad. Won't even watch it again. Fire in the Sky. Cape Fear. The Strangers. I live in the sticks like they did. So it was super easy to imagine that exact scenario happening in real life. Event Horizon. Saw it tripping on acid and about shit myself, multiple times. Phantasm. Wreck. My favorite horror movie of all time. Quarantine is the American version, but it isn't nearly as good as the Spanish original film. Life. The most recent jump scare that really got me was the loud one * in the Night House. The sequence that follows the jump scare is disorienting. And it keeps you on edge. I think the movie kind of went off the rails in the third act. But overall I really enjoyed it. Barbarian. Hide and Seek. I used to love scary movies and never had an issue, but I was 15 when I watched this and it was around the time that my family was torn apart because I finally told that my stepdad was molesting me. It killed me at the end when the dad turned out to be the villain the whole time. It hit too close to home. That's when I realized scary movies are fucking scary lol. Peppa Pig. I know this is a bit weird, but as a kid I was terrified of the film, The Witches, based on the Roald Dahl novel. So much so that now as a 34-year-old I can't be in same room if my kids are watching it. Proper scarred me for life. Hereditary, The Shining, and The Exorcist. The Descent. Never saw The Exorcist before the re-release in theaters around 2000. All I knew of the movie were clips of Regan puking and the spinning head. Seeing the title card on the big screen sent chills and I was very unnerved and terrified by the end of it. It Follows is one of the best, first watch, films I've ever seen. That part with the tall dude entering the doorway was nightmare fuel. Lake Mungo has, so far, been the only horror movie to ever scare me. I've seen The Exorcist, Martyrs, French version, Hereditary, Babadook, The Ring, and a myriad of other praised horror movies, and while I enjoyed all of them, None actually scared me. I've been looking for a movie like that for a long time now. With no luck. Smile. Rosemary's Baby. I Feel Pretty. Amy Schumer is terrifying because she keeps getting bigger. Also anything with Mindy Kaling. Gonjiam. Korean horror movie. As a Buddhist. Incantation. Fall. I have a paralyzing fear of heights. Smiling face with tear. The Thing and the Alien vs. Predator sequel. Just because of the second film, I think xenophobia should mean being afraid of the alien. The Sand. The Sand Monster made me so terrified that I thought that the Sand Monster was even on my real life. Floor 2 lol. Indigenous. 8 or 9. It Was a Quiet Place. That scared the living crap out of me. Insidious. Original House of Wax with Vincent Price. I'm uber wimpy when it comes to horror films. For example, I watched the original release of Jaws in the theater with my siblings through my fingers. And often with my eyes closed. Somewhat more recently, I slept with the light on for 3 months after watching The Grudge. I doubt most people would find that movie particularly scary. Some of the special effects are kinda hokey. But I grew up in an old stick-framed house that used to make similar creaking sounds when the wind would blow. And the death rattle the ghost made really got to me. I made the mistake of disclosing that to some friends of mine, and they immediately began to use the info against me by randomly making the sound in passing for months afterward. So funny. Grimace.